Hello everyone and welcome back to this Football Manager 2017 experiment where we take a look at what would happen if the top 5 leagues in Europe were all given a 40-year transfer ban. Now we've already gone about 30 years into that transfer ban, we've got 10 more to go, and today, because it has been a bit samey in the last few episodes, we're also going to go 1 year past that transfer ban. So to begin with, we'll take a look at who the latest winners have been of all the various league competitions. We'll also have a look at the World Cup, the European Championships, various different competitions like that, and also look at where the transfers were at when this transfer ban ended, to give us a little bit of perspective on the new transfers that will start happening once the ban comes to an end. We'll also have a look at some of the fallen giants, and then we will go 1 year forward past the transfer ban to have a look at what kind of money is being spent and by which clubs. So quite a lot to get through today, so we are just going to go straight ahead to the year 2060. Well, we are now at the year 2060. The transfer ban ends in exactly 8 days, and we're going to start with the Portuguese Premier League, or Premier League rather. You can see 2051 was when we left off. Braga had this brilliant period of dominance with Sporting getting a couple of competitions, but since then Ferreira and Guimarães have both managed to win the league. Guimarães winning it 4 out of 5 seasons. Braga have come back somewhat since then, but nice to see another team breaking through, because obviously Guimarães had won it once back in 33-34. Benfica got in there as well, but Ferreira, the only other team to have won it just one time. I'm not even sure what the P stands for, but they have won the league, and it's a fascinating insight of the Portuguese league that only 3 clubs have ever actually won it. And so this little transfer ban on the top 3 teams led to a very different change in the Portuguese league. But we will jump straight now to the Italian league. And as you can see here, the dominance of Inter Milan has started to falter. They were title winners for so long, over such a dominant period of time. But since around this point where AC Milan jumped in, it's just swapped between the two in the city of Milan for about 7 years before Novara managed to win it. And then Juventus are the reigning champions, which will help them hugely going into the end of the transfer ban. So I imagine they've probably got quite a bit of cash available to them. 2nd of July the transfer ban ends, so a bit longer than 8 days away, but you can see they've got a couple of £100 million in the bank at least. I think it's a couple of £100 million. It's £196.5 million to spend, which actually isn't that much money. If we look at Inter, who've been the dominant team up to now, to be fair, they only have 66 million, so Juventus do have a bit more cash. You can see Spal, hopefully they will be able to carry on, but they have insecure finances despite winning a few league titles. Just £21 million in the bank. They are going to drop quickly. AC Milan up there as well. Roma still in the league. Lazio dropping down quite a bit. If we look at the Serie B, just a quick brief look at this. You can see that there aren't really many big teams down here except for Udinese and Napoli, who have both been relegated from Serie B. I've only got Serie B loaded up, so when they come back is very much open to interpretation. They've been down there for a long time, and were in Serie C for a while as well, so Napoli really the one to suffer in this competition, but they've got still about £55 million in the bank, so you'd imagine they'll bounce back as soon as they can sign a few players. Udinese as well also were in Serie C. Actually got relegated from Serie C a couple of years ago and have since bounced back, but when the transfer ban ends, you have to imagine they will be jumping up quite quickly. Now in Ligue, it is very much a one-team league now. Racing Club de Lens, that dominance is unprecedented. I've never seen anybody dominate a league like that. That's over, I mean, it's from 36 to 60, but if you take it back to here, that's like, they've only missed out on the title once in 32 seasons. 31 out of 32 titles is not bad at all. Absolute domination for them. They do have worldwide reputation, but only secure finances, which is interesting. If we do look at their finances, we'll see that there's not a lot of money in there at all. £33 million, which is just crazy because it shows how much the clubs rely on their reputation and the game's inbuilt sponsorship deals to provide finances, especially in leagues outside of the Premier League. I mean, if we look at the stages screen and drop back a season, we can see PSG finished 5th. Monaco down in 18th place are really starting to struggle. I'm just going to have a quick look, see if any of the big teams got relegated. Not that I can see. But Monaco sitting in 18th place, only just avoiding relegation. If we look at their finances, because obviously they are one of the teams who will bounce back, not actually that brilliant. £35 million now and no sugar daddy. And if we look at PSG as well, I'd imagine they're probably still doing all right for money, but they don't have a sugar daddy anymore either. And only have they have £401 million in the bank, so you have to imagine that a lot of that is going to get spent. But Racing Club de Lens might be able to maintain their position at the top of the league for a bit of a time to come. Now in Germany, it's a familiar picture as well. Stuttgart had been dominating the league, and that dominance has continued, but Hanover have managed to win quite a few competitions as well. And if we drop back to the stages soon, you can see that Hanover were the champions, Bayern Munich down in 6th, but the teams in the top division looking very, very different to the Bundesliga when we started this. I'm just going to have a quick look. Dortmund did get relegated, 17th place, which is quite big news. I'm just checking, Bayern Munich never got relegated. Interesting that the playoffs have dropped from 3 to 2. I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe a German fan out there can let me know. Maybe it's to do with the facilities of the team trying to get promoted. But if we drop down to the second division, you can see the teams in here. The likes of Mainz down here as well. If we drop back one season, Frankfurt getting relegated. They were in the top division, I think. Dortmund in 4th. Köln managing to win it. Hamburg down there as well. Wolfsburg got relegated. Augsburg got relegated. Hamburg did. It's a big hit on the teams that weren't out-and-out winners from day one. If we look at Dortmund and their finances, they don't look very good from that. Although they've got quite a lot in here, actually. They've got £955 million, so you have to imagine that they will be bouncing back very quickly. If we pop back up to the first division and have a quick look at Bayern Munich as well, they surely have a lot of cash in there. But actually not as much as Dortmund, £400 million less than Dortmund, which could be a factor. But the fact that they're in the top division will definitely help them. And if we have a look at Stuttgart as well, who have been the dominant team, currently without a manager, but their finances not as good as the others. Although £500 million again, oh no, is that £500 million? No, it's £55 million. So they are going to fail to maintain their dominance for sure. Well, Barcelona took a while to get going in La Liga, but they have absolutely dominated it recently. Sevilla, Levante and Getafe, the only teams to have broken their stranglehold on the league. Real Madrid really dropping down the positions, sitting in 5th place at the moment, but Barcelona really in control of this league. Just going to have a quick look if any of the big teams. I mean, we knew Valencia were getting relegated, but it looks that other than that, the Spanish league has held up pretty well with the transfer ban. If we look at Barcelona as one of the dominant teams, I can see them really coming back in Europe very quickly. £76 million all they have in the bank though. Real Madrid usually tend to be a little bit more cash rich in my experience, but we'll have a quick look, and there you can see that is a lot of money. Surely not. That must be £1 billion in there now. Yeah, £1 billion in cash ready to be spent. They are going to come back absolutely roaring at this league. There's not really much point having a look at the other teams because there hasn't really been a lot of change in the league. There's not been an emerging power turn up. Maybe the likes of Getafe, but we can see that they're sort of bouncing all over the place. They're not really an established team and they don't have the money either. £25 million. They aren't going to be able to maintain their Champions League football going forward. And finally we have the Premier League, where Newcastle have returned to dominance after so long waiting for another title. They won a couple right at the beginning. They won 3 in a row in the 20s, 4 in total, and then they had about a 20-year gap before being able to win their next 5 titles. So they've now won 9 titles since this came in. Aston Villa's period of dominance fell apart because of Newcastle slipping down into 2nd place. And if we have a look at the stages screen for the Premier League, you can see it's very much changed here. There are nearly no Premier League teams left. Spurs and Norwich holding out in there, but I think Norwich aren't a Premier League team. Spurs, though, holding out in 20th place, have just been relegated. Depending on who's come up, it could be that there are no established Premier League teams left in the top tier. just dropping back another season. There were no Premier League teams that year either. Spurs weren't in there. So that is going to be fascinating as to how the money impacts this going forward. And what we really want to be looking at is the Championship. And if we look at their league table, you can see Manchester United in 5th place. They're going to be the team to look out for, I think. If we look at their finances, they've got £953 million in the bank. So they will be firing back up the league. Other teams down here, you've got the likes of Arsenal, who are rich and also can't spend any cash. They've got £95 million as well. So you can see the money is going to be spent. I think they had £950 million rather. Manchester City also down here in the Championship. Have been for a while. Actually got relegated to League One at one point. They don't have their sugar daddy anymore, but they do have £787 million to spend. So the big English teams will be firing back. There's no doubt about that. Chelsea down there in 10th as well. In League One, no really big teams. Everton down in 19th place. And in League Two, Sunderland down in 16th, West Brom no longer in the Football League. So it's had a really big impact on some of those teams. But Newcastle, top of the league, hopefully they can continue that dominance going forward. Now, I'm not going to spend a long time looking at the Europa League either. We're just going to do a very quick look at the past winners. MK Dons, you may remember, that were the last winners of this competition, and English teams have continued to dominate. Nottingham Forest, Barnsley, Getafe, Sevilla, Guimarães, Brighton, Ipswich, Leeds, and Sochaux Montpellier. I think that is, yeah, Montpellier. So a pretty diverse bunch of winners. Lots of English teams getting involved in the Europa League, picking up European glory. I love that MK Dons have won it twice. That's the most ridiculous thing about this, I think. But Leeds winning a bit of European glory twice now, and really doing well. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the Champions League either. It's just important to know that Newcastle have won it 2 more times. Villa, 1, 2, 3, 4. They've won it 5 times now. Last season they beat Stuttgart to win the European Cup for the 5th time. Wolves have won it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times as well. 3 for Newcastle down there. 2 more here means that they have it 5 times. And if you aren't aware, if you win the European Cup 5 times, you get to keep the trophy, which is quite a nice little touch. So Newcastle do now have the Champions League permanently sitting in their trophy cabinet, which is very good stuff. Aston Villa dominating as well. Racing Club de Lens really not doing that well in Europe. It's definitely the English teams, but good to see Hanover have won it. Stuttgart with a couple of European titles as well. So the German league really competing at the top level. And that's going to be interesting to see which league comes out. It's surely going to have to be the English league. There exists in dominance, backed up by 4 or 5 huge teams coming back with £1 billion to spend in cash. Also be interested to see how Real Madrid do as well. Now, just a quick look at the World Cup. You can see that Germany have been the team to really benefit from the homegrown talent sort of effect. Belgium, though, with 2 World Cups to their name, they have done exceptionally well. And given they weren't part of this transfer ban, that is really, really good. Most of their teams players playing in England, because that's where most of the money was. But really interesting, Belgium have won it twice. Germany with 4 World Cups, 3 in a row, is pretty exceptional that they managed to do that. Italy losing out twice in the final. Germany could have won another one recently. But that's crazy that Germany won 3 in a row, 4 in total since this transfer ban came in. So their number of World Cups must be out of this world now. They've got 1, 2, 3 there, 4. So that's 8 World Cups now for Germany. And in the European Championships, Germany only with 1 European Championship title. Croatia managed to get 1, 2 for Portugal, 2 for Spain, 2 for France, 3 for France since the transfer ban came in, and 1 for Italy as well. Surprising that Germany weren't able to translate their World Cup success into European Championship success like Spain did back when they had their real glory period of 2 European Championships and a World Cup. But still, interesting to see that England, given they were the country with the most money being spent year on year, are not anywhere near the top. So maybe that homegrown effect really does come into play a bit when you look at it like this. But now we are at the end of the transfer ban. We want to have a quick look at the global transfer screen. And as you can see, June 2016, not a lot of money being spent. If we drop back to the 2059 summer, starting in about August, you can see £33.5 million. Aston Villa spending most of the money. A little bit of money being spent by other clubs, but there's really not a lot of cash floating around. Newcastle with a £47 million signing. Stuttgart up as well, but it's totally the English teams, and the values are about where they were in the early noughties. They're not the biggest transfers in the world, it has to be said. I mean, this is just £10 million, £15 million, the £43 million paid by a Chinese club. So not the huge amounts of money being spent that you would expect. I mean, this is the top page, and down at the bottom there's only £4 million. £10 million, 950 grand. So that's our sort of bar going into the end of this transfer ban, where we will have a look at how much these new big clubs are spending as they rise back from the ashes to try and take glory at home and in Europe. Well, we have gone forward 1 year, so the transfer window is open for everybody this season. And starting with Serie A, you can see Inter have won the title, 14 points clear of Juventus, AC Milan up there as well, Roma up in 5th. So a little bit of change there, the likes of Spal dropping down to 6th place and out of the Champions League. If we look at the transfers for this season in Italy, you can see the biggest ones very much the Stuttgart transfer. They're not actually that big, these transfers. Juventus are spending a bit of money. I suppose at the moment that their transfers will be spread over quite a lot of players as they look to strengthen the team. But it's interesting where they're coming from. The likes of Parma, Not Forest, Leeds in there, Barry, Spal losing players, Olympiacos losing a player. But really not huge transfers, but certainly a lot bigger than they had been recently from the likes of Spal, who aren't even really spending money. Their biggest transfer just £4 million, which shows where they were before. But the top two transfers are actually leaving the country, which is interesting as well. But Juventus definitely going for numbers rather than marquee signings. And it's Syndon Rice II. Inter, who did win the league, did have one big sign, £19 million. Kingsley Coman went from Juventus to Bayern. Surely not the same Kingsley Coman. He's a manager. What's that about? Why have they paid £80 million for a manager? Is that what just happened? Is that why he's up there as the biggest transfer? They paid £80 million for a manager. Is Kingsley Coman manager of Bayern Munich? What has gone on here? Somebody tell me, what on earth has gone on? Was he still playing? Surely not. Career stats. He was still playing. Kingsley Coman was playing football up until 2060 and was signed for £18 million at the age of 65. That has got to be a bug in the game. That's a hilarious bug. But what on earth has happened there? He even got games, look. He must have been 55 when he played for Juventus, at least 50. And then this season he played 3 games for the Bayern second team. I love that, and I love that Bayern paid £80 million for him as well. Maybe that's a hangover from some sort of buyback clause, I don't know. But that was very, very funny. Lassina Kone, he sounds like a familiar name as well. Just a region though. But Benatia, he's in there. He's 74. Why is Benatia in there as well? £13.25 million. He wasn't playing many games though, to be fair. Did completely disappear off the map. But these are clearly hangovers from future deals that weren't able to go through. And hopefully we'll see a few more of these. I mean, the Italian league's a bit of a mess when it comes to transfers, so it's not surprising things like these are slipping through the cracks. But it doesn't stop them being absolutely hilarious when they happen. Szczesny from Arsenal to Roma was made permanent for £13.5 million. He got a few games for Arsenal as well, up to the 25-26 season. I've no idea what is happening here, but I love it. Anyway, let's get on to the next league. Well, in the Portuguese league, the big former Portuguese clubs like Sporting and Benfica still not able to overturn the top sort of positions, but they have come in, and actually Benfica have had 3 players taken away from them. They have signed quite a lot of new players. Braga as well, also bringing a lot of names in, but not huge amounts of money. Portuguese league really doesn't spend that much money. Their benefit is being able to bring in players from South America quite cheaply. And in Ligue, Racing Club de Lens have continued their dominance. PSG up to 3rd place, Monaco sitting in 11th. If we look at their transfers for this window, PSG spending all the money up to £61 million on one player, 28 on another, up to 27 and 24 on 2 more. They are absolutely splashing the cash, and Racing Club de Lens way down there in the transfers, £27 million on one player. They are really going to start to fall away, but Monaco nowhere to be seen. They're all the way down here. Their biggest signing just £7 million because they do not have the cash or the sugar daddy anymore. So PSG will be challenging Racing Club de Lens's domination very, very soon. In Spain, Barcelona still champions, 2 points clear of a resurgent Real Madrid, who moved up to 2nd place. The window we really want to see is a transfers one. You can see Real Madrid have absolutely gone for it. 30 million, 33.5, 42 million, 27, nearly 30, 21, 19, 18, and they're dominating the top screens here. If we look at their transfer history, £216 million spent. They've gone from the end of the transfer ban to £216 million. Really, really going for that title. Barcelona not spending anywhere near that from what I can see. If we look at their transfer history, they only spent 83 because they do not have £1 billion in the bank. So Real Madrid really could be pushing Barcelona for the title that year. The likes of Getafe are going to start to really drop down, and it's very much so going to be a 2-horse race from this point on. In Germany, Stuttgart still champions, Bayern down in 7th place, not able to challenge them. Stuttgart finished 24 points clear, nearly getting 100 points, just 2 games that they failed to pick up maximum points. And if we look at the transfer screen for this league, you can see Newcastle, the biggest spenders, then a Chinese club, then an English club, then Stuttgart with 32 million, but Bayern do have quite a lot of entries in the top half here. Dortmund, who also had a huge amount of cash. If we look at their transfer history, they spent £100 million and they are still in the German 2nd division. They spent £100 million and are still in the German 2nd division. That is just some really poor investments. They didn't miss out by much, but for £100 million, they have to be winning that league, surely. If we look at Bayern Munich's transfer history, we can see they spent £126 million, but 18 of that was on Kingsley Coman, which I'm never going to get over. I love they signed a retired pension age Kingsley Coman. But overall, you can see where the money is being spent. It's Bayern and Dortmund, and they are going to be the 2 teams trying to challenge Stuttgart at the top of the German league. And then finally, you have the Premier League, where you can see that Aston Villa are up there, 96 points, winning the title. Newcastle dropping down to 4th place. If we look at the transfers, we can see Aston Villa are up there, Newcastle are up there, Brighton are up there. Aston Villa spent £82 million on a player from Brighton, Wayne Broom, who does look fantastic, to be fair. 57 goals for England in 67 games. You can see maybe why they paid that much money. But Manchester United way down here. Not doing very well in the transfer market at all. None of those sort of formerly huge teams are actually spending any cash, which is quite interesting. Although maybe these are only the transfers for Premier League clubs that were involved in the transfer. But you can see Newcastle are spending a bit of money now. Aston Villa, huge transfer up there, another one down here. But not massive amounts of money being spent. If we drop down to the Championship, you can see that there's a bit of money being spent, but not an awful lot. I mean, Manchester City nowhere to be seen in the spending screen, and Manchester United as well, not really spending a huge amount of money. If we drop back one season, you can see they still finished 6th. Manchester City 14th, Liverpool 13th, Arsenal 9th. You really expected them to be spending a lot more money than they did. Manchester City, if you look at their transfer history, just £31 million being spent. They had nearly £1 billion in the bank, and they spent just £31 million. Manchester United as well, they're under transfer embargo because of a breach to financial regulations. So they finally managed to break the transfer embargo, spend 70 million quid, and are then put under another transfer embargo. Chelsea, how are they doing? They are securing their finances, but are not spending money. £4 million spent by Chelsea. What's going on here? Do they not have any money? They have no money whatsoever, Chelsea. So they really have suffered as a result of this. And then Liverpool as well. Secure finances doesn't exactly scream rich, does it? £27 million for Liverpool. So they've not spent any money either. So that is going to be really interesting. I mean, Manchester United, one of the few teams with a lot of cash. Arsenal do have a lot of money as well, but they spent nearly £30 million. Not that much. I mean, they've got nearly £1 billion in the bank and they're not spending it. Maybe to try and avoid breaking financial fair play, but they're going to struggle to get promoted if they don't spend money quickly, which is going to be very interesting to see, because I expected at least one of them to win this league and get back into the Premier League. But as it is, it's going to take a little bit more time for them to do so. Now, a quick look at the Champions League. You can see Aston Villa did win the Champions League from Newcastle. The same two teams popping up in the final there. Now, I'm not sure if I should do a next part of this experiment. You guys need to let me know down below. It depends on what your interest is of seeing if the likes of Manchester United and Arsenal can really come back. It should be fairly obvious that the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool are not going to come back to the Premier League unless they get a new owner come in, because they just do not have the cash anymore. But it'd be interesting to see how Manchester United, possibly City and also Arsenal do get on, and how the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona will get on in the Champions League. So I'm a little bit interested in it. But drop a like on the video if you do want to see more parts of this experiment. Maybe one more part, two more parts. Let me know in the comments how many you think we should do. I think if we do another part, I'll go 5 years into the future so we can still take a detailed look at the rise of teams like Manchester United. But I'm not sure how much more legs this experiment has. You guys need to let me know down below. But do drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter if you don't already. Links in the description. And subscribe to the channel if you're new. But until next time, see ya.